So our Deputy Superintendent will wave her hand. She is here, Dr. Alicia Smith. Our Director of Human Resources, Julia Indalacio. Our Chief Operations Officer, Chris Burkhardt. Soon-to-be Treasurer, current Assistant Treasurer, Mike Gustin. We have on the next row, Rebecca Beach, who is our Project Connect Manager. We have our Director of Transportation, Pam Williams. And over here on my side of the room, we have Assistant Superintendent Sierra Badgett. And Dan Hoying, our General Counsel, is on the back row-ish.
Thank you, and I should mention we have two more city team members who came. We have our Deputy Clerk of Council, and that's Nicole Crawford. Thank you for being here, and also Roy Hackworth from our Department of Community Economic Development. Thank you for being here. Okay, so we're going to start with public comment. I'll call your name, coming up to the microphone. You don't have to touch it, and you will have the privilege of the floor for 2 minutes. And we'll start with Minister Adrian. And he will be followed by, let me put on my glasses to make sure I read the name correctly, Alexis Marsh with her son.
So I came today just to comment on the Rothenberg. I don't know if you say Rothenberg or Rothenberg, but the Rothenberg, yeah, I know.
I don't know.
But the Rothenberg crosswalk, I wanted to know where y'all at with that because it needs to be up there at least before the school year so the kids can be safe. In our nonprofit, we at least have 20 of those kids. So the safetiness over there is very important to us for those kids. I don't know. When I went through the agendas and read it, it was not as clear on when it was going to be put up there, but I know y'all already said it was going to be put up there, but I just wanted to know if it can get up there before the school year starts so they can be safe. And instead of the white paint, because of the tires mess it up, they can put high yellow paint so everybody can see that. Okay. Just a suggestion on the painting when you paint it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Minister Adrian. And we'll check. That's a question for our Department of Transportation and Engineering, so we'll check on that. Okay, next we have Alexis Marsh and her son, and she will be followed by Andy Shark.
Okay. Hi, thanks for having us. This is Errol, my son. He is the motivation for getting involved in anything in OTR. His safety. He goes to SCPA, he's gone there since kindergarten. And Errol, what do you say whenever I suggest we move out of OTR? Just quick.
I don't want to move because I have a lot of friends here. They go to my school. They go to Washington Park over near SCPA, the place where I go to school.
Okay, so after school, what do we do every day?
Every day we go to Washington Park.
And how do we typically cross?
Usually we either go in the middle, which is dangerous, or we go around, which takes much longer.
Right, so we thought it would be a good idea, since we see a lot of families crossing in the middle of the block, if we could just get crosswalk between those two streets or those two crossings, that would be really helpful for helping families and kids get to the park or cross the street to get into their parents' car. What would you do if I wasn't there and you had to cross the street? Usually I would, look both ways and go through the middle because it is faster. Cool, that's it. That's why we'd like a crosswalk. Thank you.
Okay, let me ask you, Errol, how old are you?
I am 10.
I really appreciate you coming down here to speak for public comment. You did an excellent job. Thank you for that. And so shout out to SCPA and to the parents as well. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Andy Shark. You have the pleasure of the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm also here to speak about the crosswalk between SCPA and Washington Park. Okay. I have 3 children, and my wife in the back here, Henry's a second grader at SCPA, and Emmanuel and Xavier are preschoolers at Rising Stars, Ezra Charles, and will be going to SCPA for kindergarten next year.
Nice.
To give a little bit more input too on the crosswalk situation, that spot on 12th Street between Washington Park and SCPA is where all of the elementary school kids come out at the end of the day and where they go in the morning to be dropped off for school. And because of the limited parking in OTR, there's a lot of cars on both sides of the street, so there's constantly parents that are parking on both sides of the streets that are running across the street because they're in a rush with their kids and then running back to their cars. And then there's a lot of families like us that live downtown, like Alexis and Errol, that like to use the park after school especially, or that are coming through the park to drop their kid off in the morning. And it's a direct spot between the park and the school, and there's already a walk through the park. So we've been in discussion with SCPA and had support from the principal but we're trying to get more feedback from City Council and CPS to make something happen, to make the street a lot safer and to create direct access to the park. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, our next speaker is Christian Davis. And Ms. Davis, you have the pleasure of the floor for 2 minutes. I think you're our last public comment.
Hello, and thank you for having me. My name is Christian Davis. I am a CPS parent. My children also attend SCPA. I'm also the founder of Cincinnati Parent Empowerment Network. And today I'm really just here to encourage this joint collaboration. Cincinnati Public Schools aren't just educating children, they're shaping the future workforce, civic leaders, and community members of the city. If the city of Cincinnati wants to ensure a thriving community, it must invest in a strong collaborative relationship with CPS. There is an upward trend of Cincinnati high school graduates leaving the city and state to go to college and never returning. They are settling in their professional careers and starting families in cities and states that they believe have more appeal and opportunity than their hometown. Cincinnati has a lot to offer, but many professionals, especially professionals with families, are no longer choosing Cincinnati as their home because they want better educational options. They will come to our city to work and play, but not live. I believe that by building a strong partnership between the city of Cincinnati and CPS, together we can change that narrative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the work you do with the Cincinnati Parent Empowerment Network. Excellent. If anyone hasn't been to visit, you really need to. So thank you so much. Okay, that ends public comment, so I'm going to turn the agenda, at least the first part, a lot of it is really CPS presenting, and I know you have to do roll call as well, so I'll turn it over to Dr. Moffitt.
So I'm going to, just as a formality for people to know that we need to memorialize who is here. So Treasurer Wagner, can you call roll for me?
Mr. Craig? Mr. Crossett?
Here.
Mr. Lindy? Ms. Mapp?
Here.
Mrs. Weinberg? Vice President Bolton?
Present.
President Moffitt?
Here. Thank you. And to start our agenda, we're going to have a presentation. We thought we would update the city and the community on Metro busing students. We've had some changes this year, and so I believe Superintendent Murphy, stop me if I'm wrong, this is Mr. Burkhart, his team.
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Chris Burkhart, and we have our partners from Metro joining us.
Yes, this is great. And I left my jacket downstairs, so if somebody is near the entrance, can they bring up my jacket? Thank you.
Down by the security desk? Okay, Alex, do you mind checking on that, please? Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing us to be here to talk a little bit about Metro. I'm Chris Burkhart, I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Cincinnati Public Schools, and to my left is Andy Aiello, the CEO of Metro. We're going to go through some slides and give you a high-level overview of where we're at with busing in Metro for this upcoming 25-26 school year. So as we're looking at Metro and transportation this year, we have over 12,000 CPS passes for all students grades 7 through 12. But now that's
Dr.
not only-
Burkhart, do you mind speaking directly
Okay, I'm
to the
sorry.
mic? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's not only CPS students, but those are students that are in the city of Cincinnati, whether they're chartered, non-public, where we are required to transport every student in the city of Cincinnati. So this 12,000 includes all of those students as well. So this includes not only our high school students, it also includes all of our 7th and 8th graders this year, and approximately 12 new schools, whether those are middle schools, whether those are junior highs, or some of our K through 8 schools. That's approximately 1,200 new students, which is a 10% increase over last year.
I'll talk a little bit about the passes for 2025 and 2026. Before I do, I'll take just a point of privilege. We have an outstanding relationship with the administration at CPS and superintendent's team. As you'll see through this presentation, we've been working very collaboratively over the last few years, and that collaboration is even deeper today than it's ever been. And it's this communication with not only CPS, but also the city and the city manager's office that, again, continues to get stronger, and it leads us to making tweaks and adjustments to the system as a way to improve all the outcomes for the city and for the students. So in 2025 and 2026 school year, a slight adjustment to the pass. As you know, we create RFID smart card passes that are tied individually to each student, and they have that student ID associated with that pass. The regular passes that we create for most students operate during the morning peak and in the afternoon peak. 2 years ago, those passes would cut off at 6 p.m. Last year, we found that we could get most students to where they needed to go prior to 5:30 p.m. And this year, we're happy to report that with improvements to the network and how we move students through the system, those passes cut off at 5 p.m. And that's just a means to get students quickly to their final destination. And that's been possible through the improvements of the bus network over the last few years. For those students that participate in extracurricular activity, CPS lets Metro know who those students are, and we create extracurricular passes for them, and those last well into the evening so they can, go to football practice or debate club or whatever they have after school and still get home. A new adaptation this year is that we're also encoding each of those student passes to whether that student has a direct trip home or whether based on their home address and school address would require to transfer somewhere at one of our transit centers in the system. With that, we're going to color code those passes. So students that have blueprint on their pass means that their home address and their school address most likely requires them to transfer. And the bus drivers and CPS and CPD and our community partners will see that that student probably needs to transfer at a transfer hub. And then the ones printed with black ink means that based on those two addresses, that student should have a direct trip home and doesn't necessarily need to be at a transit center. What we did last year is we captured that data, and for those students that had a direct trip home but were using Government Square, we sent that list of students to CPS. CPS robo-called parents. We did that every week over the last school year, and we saw a significant decline over the year of kids that had a direct route home and found themselves at Government Square. So we're going to continue that with just a little bit more of a visual validation that's going to happen this year as well.
And as you can see by the slide, there's about 7,000 passes that have direct. We have about 3,000 passes that would have to have a transfer. And we have about 2,000 students who have an extracurricular activity that they would need a extracurricular pass for. So as we look at the 25-26 school year, we've obviously made some changes, which Andy just spoke about. But what we really want to do is get communication into the hands of the community and those parents and guardians about what these changes are. So we have set up open houses at each one of our junior high, middle schools, and high schools, and those will run from August 4th to August 15th. And at each one of those open houses, we will have not only transportation staff, school administrative staff, but also our friends from Metro there to be able to answer questions from each parent or guardian about their trip from school to home or home to school. So a lot of Metro staff will be there to not only assist to answer questions, but more importantly, they will be around for the first week of school to make sure that they see the same faces at not only the transfer centers, but actually at the bus stops as well. So we want to make sure that there's visibility there, as well as making sure that parents feel comfortable with what's happening. So we are allowing parents to ride free from August 20th through 27th. We actually passed out cards at our Back to School Fest, but parents don't actually need that card. They can just tell the driver that when they get on the bus, I'm here to ride to school with my son or daughter. And then when they ride back, they just need to tell their driver that they are returning home. So we think that is something that in the past has worked really well for us. And now with 7th and 8th graders riding Metro, we're allowing and extending that for this year as well.
May I just ask, so is August 20th first day of school?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
okay. So that first week, parents can ride for free with their children to school and then home again? Are they able to go back and actually pick them up?
Yep.
I mean, do they
Yes.
get to do that twice? Okay.
Yes,
All
and
right,
then
great.
actually the pass that is on the screen right now is what the pass looks like. Our transportation department has those passes as well. So the other piece that we're really excited about is meeting students where they are. So we have produced some videos. Metro has graciously had one of their great supporters make a TikTok video on how to get to school using Metro. So if you've never done that before, we have videos how to navigate the app all the way through, how to get on the bus and what protocol is like on the bus, and then what to do once you get to school. So.
I love that. You guys are very cool. TikTok. All right. Go CPS.
Well,
We are
And
with
Metro.
it. We
Yeah,
are
go
on
Metro.
it.
Right, right.
And just to underline some of the things that Chris has said is that we've been working really hard to get the word out. And if you think about order of magnitude, we had 12,000 students who were using Metro as their main means of transportation last year, maybe a 10% increase with the change this year. So we're ready for this. I'm a parent of a CPS student that rides Metro, and I've received already 2 emails from CPS saying this is how you can expect to ride Metro, and click on this link to go to the transportation page to get more information. So we're really pushing communication, and again, as a recipient of that communication, I see it happening in real time.
Let me just ask, so there are cards available, passes available for parents. They don't really need them,
Correct.
but they might feel more comfortable, like I'd feel more comfortable having one as opposed to the bus driver taking my word for it. Is there a way of like going online and getting these passes or calling a number?
We can post this online so they can print it out and just have a copy of
okay.
it. So we'll make sure that that's available
Okay.
online on our website. So
Great.
we'll put it on our transportation page within CPS, so anyone who's going to be looking for it. Let's give us a day, please. So I won't say tomorrow, but maybe by the next day, by Friday, we'll have that on our webpage so that anyone who wants it can print it off. We've also really done a lot of outreach and making sure that our social media presence, there's not been a single day that I haven't gone on social media and seen information about transportation. So every single day we're saturating the market on what the changes are, what you can expect, what changes have been made, as well as emails, robocalls. So if a parent or student doesn't know about Metro this year, it's not from a lack of trying. We've really tried to saturate the market in every possible place that students and parents would look. The other piece that we really want to highlight, and both Andy and I have been working really boots on the ground from this standpoint, is student safety. And I always say that it's not only that students are safe, but that students feel safe as they're on Metro or at the transit centers. And we've really made a concerted effort to put together a bunch of points so that if there is any concerns, parents and or students have a way to let us know so that we can take care of that immediately so that they feel safe. We do know that there are 12,000 students taking Metro in the morning and 12,000 students taking Metro in the afternoon. That's happening 5 days a week, 38 weeks out of the year. And the number of issues that we have are minimal compared to the number of students who take Metro every single day. So I'll let Andy expand a little bit more about that.
Yeah, and as Chris said, it's about partnerships. At Metro, we have a contract with CPD where we're providing coverage at all of our, mainly downtown Government Square, but also at our suburban transit centers. We also work with the CPS staff and their security team. If there's an issue, there's a protocol to where we can report that issue up through CPS so the particular school can handle that issue. We have a Metro supervisor presence at Government Square. We have a contract with the city's 311 community responders that also help us at all 4 transit centers every afternoon. A new development that I'm sure you're aware of, something that we're very happy to report, is that the liquor store on 5th Street has closed, and Metro had an opportunity to take over that lease, and we've done so. So we're going to take our ticket sales office that was interior to the Mercantile building and bring it out to the storefront on Government Square. And we're also going to have an adjacent door, which will be our safety security door, that'll be used by the Metro supervisors and the Metro funded CPD detail and so on and so forth. So we're trying to improve the aesthetic and the safety at Government Square as well. And again, we continue to use data. We carry about 1.6 million student trips a year. And so we have to rely upon data and systems to solve problems. So we're continuing to improve our game with respect to this partnership and data. The next slide talks about, in terms of empowering and encouraging. So if you're talking to parents who are new to this, the Transit app is a phenomenal tool. My kids have grown up in a household where they're sitting looking at the Transit app trying to decide whether they're going to go now or they're going to wait a couple minutes more to catch the bus. So when you go into the app, you just essentially, we're encouraging parents now, you can start to schedule and plan your trip. Just go in and put a date after August 20th and you can do that. Also gives you, next slide, gives you real-time service alerts. So once you figure out what route you take, you pin that route, and if there's an interruption or a detour, you'll get a notification on your phone that there is a detour.
So as we go through the school year, the question always is, the bus doesn't come quick enough, or, I've missed the bus, or our route's going to change. And I want to make sure the community knows, both Metro and CPS look at this data regularly. And so we know that the first week of school is going to be challenging. And what we're telling students is, please take the first bus that comes along. Don't wait until the last bus comes and then find out that it's full. So we're encouraging students, maybe get to school a little bit early during that first week as folks, try these new situations and are going through a new trial phase for riding Metro. We are making continuous improvements together. So CPS and Metro have officially monthly calls, but we actually get together every other week to talk about any issues that we have. The folks from Metro call CPS, we call Metro on any given day. So if we see that there is a route that may need some tweaking, Metro is really great about pulling that data in real time and having that conversation. So we've been blessed with this partnership. I'll also say the one thing that we didn't bring up before is that on the safety piece, safety goes both ways. So we do require all of our students to follow our transportation code of conduct that they must read and sign before the school year starts to make sure that they know what those rules are governing them being good stewards on our buses, both Yellow Bus and Metro transportation. With
Okay,
that, we
thank
can either stop for questions or move on to the transit centers as well.
Could we stop for questions real quickly, please? I was just thinking, so, after the first week, and maybe even during the first week, depending on the parent's schedule, the child might be on the bus by themselves. And so what happens if, for example, they, get off at the wrong stop, or let's say they don't get off and they actually miss their stop, they fall asleep, or they're not feeling well. What does the bus driver call a certain number? How do we track that?
Yeah, if we have a student that is lost in the system, that bus driver, the protocol is for them to call our RCC dispatch center.
Okay.
Right? And then we immediately put a supervisor heading to that location to figure out what the best solution is, whether it's to take that kid to school or to call the parents or whatnot. So that happens in real time every day.
Okay.
If there are situations where somebody's lost in the system, we have a protocol in place.
Okay, that
And
sounds good.
on the CPS side, it's 363 RIDE, RIDE is the number that parents can call. And our dispatchers reach out to the dispatchers at Metro, whether it's a Metro student or whether it's a Yellow Bus student. You can call that number to get a real live human between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So if the child, for example, gets off at the wrong stop and the parents are like, I don't know where my child is, they can call 363 Ride and you're able to know where I mean, you can track their card, right? So you can know where John Smith got off the bus.
We can't actually track the card, but we will get in contact with Metro. So we have
Okay.
direct line to Metro so that we don't have to have 2 or 3 different people on hold trying to solve the problem. When that call comes in, if there is a lost student, that actually rings to every single phone in our transportation department. So we know that something is going on. Literally, all the phones ring at the same time. So we know that there's a student that is lost or missing.
Okay.
And you know, knock on wood, most of the time they like you're saying, fall asleep on the bus or get off at the wrong stop.
Okay, and then another question, we were just talking about, let me hold that one. Let me turn it over to my colleagues, because I'll take up all the time with questions. I want you all to have a chance.
She does have a lot of questions,
I know.
doesn't she?
I said, let me not hog up all the airtime. Go ahead.
Do any of my colleagues have questions? Board Member Matt?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. And I absolutely love that there's an opportunity for students and parents to track their ride on the app, so I think that's really helpful. I do have questions about the ongoing ridership experience. So I know that you're going to be having conversations with students and parents before school begins. Is that going to be a continuous conversation or opportunity for that conversation to continue to occur so that you can get real-time feedback, or, not just through an email or through a portal, but you're able to actively engage with the individuals to help improve the quality of the ridership experience?
Yeah, great question, and thank you for bringing that up, because I'm remiss that we didn't talk about that. So during the school year, we always want to get good feedback, and that comes in the way of sometimes a survey that has gone out. We have had also at various schools throughout the year, we've had Metro come in so we can talk through what Metro process looks like with students, with parents. So sometimes when there is a open house at the school during the school year, we will make sure that we have that partnership that we've extended to Metro. And we try to also get on any situations in which there are parent and student engagement at the school. We always want to have that open to get that feedback. Anything else? Anything I'm missing?
Great, thank you for that. And lastly, I know that you talked about the passes for the parents and that it will be available for them to print it out, but just thinking about access, is it possible for there to be some available passes at the schools, given that orientations will be coming up?
For sure. And just to underline what was said before as well, is that we've done this every year, or at least for the last few years, we've allowed parents to ride for free. So the pass is not required. A parent can board with their student, and then from that return trip from the school home, the operators are well aware that that is expected and can ride for free. So,
Any other board member questions? Board Member Crossett?
Do you have a question?
Well, I just want to make a statement. I really want to highlight the importance of the partnership and all of the work that has gone on behind the scenes. I've attended some meetings as well, but this has been really, really tough. Our staff, I know, because I've been fussing about, hey, make a video, meet kids where they are, meet parents where they are. And Metro really, really, really did listen. So much so, our relationship is a model across the state, because there was some legislation coming down that was going to impact us with regard to transportation. And we fought really hard in partnership with Metro, like, no. We have a great relationship, and we are actually asked to be a model to other large cities, which will remain nameless. But this has been, when we talk about engagement, we're really getting Metro to come to the schools, hear the students, hear the parents. The only piece that is missing are the parents. We need the parents and the public to see what's going on and help us to help the students. There may be students that are lost. As much engagement as we're trying, there may be students and parents that have been missing as far as getting this information. So share this information out, because we're really, really trying. but we may miss some people because everybody's not on social media, everybody's not listening. Make sure that every parent knows that they can ride the bus. It is encouraged for them to ride the bus. They don't need a pass. But I heard last year that they didn't have any problems from any particular, at any time of day, and going after work or before work to get with their kids for riding the bus. But we need the public and the parents. Don't fight with the kids. Some of them are just as confused as the public is that they're there. But this can be a really good relationship that's modeled after what we are already doing, so.
Okay, one more question. I'll just go ahead and ask my last question. Let me start by saying to Eve Bolton, because I know she's going to jump down my throat about this question, but I don't mean that our children are not welcome at Government Square, okay? So let me start by saying that, but here's my question. So if a child doesn't really need to transfer, but they constantly, or several times, you realize they're going down to Government Square. I think last year the plan was to talk to or ask the principals to actually talk to the students just to kind of see what's going on, or is that still what's going on? What will go on this school year?
Yeah, great question, and that teases up for the Government Square slide next. But yes,
Okay.
that is going to happen. So we get the data in real time at the end of every week from Metro. We get that in the hands of the school leadership teams same day, and the expectation is that we have those, administration to student conversations on why they're going through Government Square. And some of those answers are because I'm going to, grandma's house, or I'm going to a job, or I'm going to somewhere else, and those are legitimate reasons. We also have students who are going to meet their friends and maybe some other reason, but we want to make sure that we're not taxing Metro at Government Square and the other transit centers as well, and those students who actually need the service have that service available for them. So we're having the conversations. We have the data in real time. We did see last year when we started this process, we saw every week the numbers went down on the number of students at the transit centers that were going through the transit centers that didn't need to. And I think by having the colored passes this year also helps because you have a visual right then and there that does that student really need to be there or not. And so if they have a pass that is not black, that is blue or red, we know that those students with a blue or red should be there. Those students who have a black pass know that they're a home to school direct route.
Okay, I like that because sometimes there are issues that children can share. And so it might just be they want that social thing. We know our children are, children in general, or young people, I should say, not just little kids, but they're, especially teenagers, are very social and want to, as someone said in city council earlier this week, they want to see and be seen and be around their peers. So we get that. But also something could be wrong at home. And so, I think it's good. I like having that conversation so that if there's some resource they need, the appropriate adults will be notified. So, Ms. Bolton, did you want to say anything about that?
I've been very, very rough on the city fathers, never the city mothers. But I'm very rough always on Metro. But as we walk down memory lane, just about 3 years ago, prior to where you're now in this position, but when you were just in charge of all the logistics and what have you, the vice mayor, you and I were downstairs in some corner office figuring some of this stuff up. And the reality is the vice mayor has been a part of our struggle on this issue since the extra routes were lost. So this is not a sunshine soldier. And I appreciate it, and I know the board and the district appreciates the fact that day in and day out, you've been helping us with this. And to the president's point, other cities where they don't have this collaboration, the children have lost the right to be on a bus to get to school. So this is very important, but it's just day in and day out work.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, Dr. Moffitt.
So we're going to encourage you to continue to educate us on Government Square and transit centers. Ready.
Yeah, so I think the key for the government square and transit centers to the points that were just made is it takes a village. And it's not just the city, it's not Metro, it's not CPS, it's all of us coming together. Where we at the transit centers do have presence from the Cincinnati Police, we have Metro and Metro supervisors, we have CPS staff, we have CPS transportation staff. We also have a group of committed partners who are there to make sure that this goes well every single day, whether it's warm and sunny and 75 degrees or whether there's 3 inches of snow on the ground and it's blistering cold. So we want to make sure that students feel safe at these transit centers. Obviously they are safe, but we want them to feel safe as well. So we have a number of folks who are working diligently. We actually have our first meeting next Wednesday with all of our partners to discuss where we were last year and where we expect to go this year. So we are really excited about the partnership, not only with between CPS and Metro, but also with the city and the greater community. Finally, do students need to make more than one transfer? And the answer to that is a resounding no. Metro has a great network set up so that students will only have to transfer once if they have to transfer at all. And so we're looking at about those 3,000 students out of 12,000 on any given day that might need a transfer. And so they can get from home to school and school to home with only one transfer at one of the transfer centers.
Any other questions from my colleagues from the city or the district? Mr. Crossett, Board Member Crossett.
Thank you, Metro. Thank you, and thank you, Vice Mayor. This is, becoming the gold standard for the state of Ohio, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And can you say the number one more time for if there is a problem on the Metro? Just say that process one more time from the Metro side and the CPS side.
So on the CPS side, it's 363-RIDE, RIDE, and we have a real human there and a bunch of real humans there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through. Obviously, one of the things that we always ask folks first is go to the app and whether it's the Metro app or the CPS app to track where the bus is and where the students are. Sometimes a bus might be either CPS or Metro might be running late for some reason. Maybe there's an accident and we're running 10 minutes behind. So we say check those things first and then give us a call if you need to.
And then on the Metro side, parents who are trying to plan right now for school opening can begin to get their route together, and they need to do what on the Metro side?
They need to download the transit app, and they plan, or they can also use Google Maps, and they plan their trip for August 20th or any weekday into the future, because there are changes to the network that happen the week before school starts, right? And so we want to make sure that they're planning their trip on that future network that's going to be in operation on August 20th. So that's in all of our materials. It says go on the transit app or go on Google Maps, and you can use Google Maps just like you do for driving directions. You just click the little bus button. It'll show you exactly where to walk, what stop to stand at, how long you're going to wait, and it'll show your bus coming in real time. So that is, the transit app is the key, and all the kids know how to use it. So that's the best thing to do, is to encourage your kids to talk to their fellow classmates who have figured out the transit app, and it's an amazing tool.
And we are on Twitter. You have a video. I just want to highlight some things that that the kids probably already know, but parents need to know.
Yeah.
We do have a video to show how to ride the Metro.
Yep.
Go and plan the trips if they need it, and we are here to help. School starts August 20th.
Both marketing teams are spectacular, both CPS and Metro, and they have gone above and beyond to make sure that there's the information out there in however the person out there wants it. So kudos to both teams.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay, thank you so much. And we're going to move along because we have less than an hour left. We appreciate you. So,
Talking about
Dr.
crossing
Moffitt,
guards.
all right.
Mr. Burke, are you
So
still
sadly,
here?
you're stuck with me for a couple more slides.
All right.
As we transition, this will be relatively quick. As we talk about crossing guards, CPS took over crossing guards from the city last year. The slide I have up here right now is actually wrong because we put this slide together to make sure we had time to get it into this presentation. We currently have 10 positions remain unfilled. So it says up here 16. We have 10 positions of the 144 crossing guards across the city. We have 10 positions that are unfilled. That doesn't mean that we don't have crossing guards there. That means that we don't have a full-time crossing guard there for the start of school. So we're hoping within the next 2 weeks we can get that number down to 0, but right now we have 10. The other thing that I really want to highlight for just a minute is over the summer, and actually started back in April and May, we made a concerted effort to look at all of the schools and all of the safety and signage around all of the schools. So we have a matrix now of where every sign is, whether it's a flashing sign or not flashing sign, school zone, speed limit, crosswalk, speed hump, everything you can put together in relation to every school within our campus. And we've been working very closely with DOTE on making sure that for the start of school this year that they have 3 of the 4 major things that we want folks to see. So that would be a signage of some point, crosswalks, as well as some sort of flashing sign. So we are well on our way to having those items in place. We don't have them at all of those items at every school, but that's obviously our goal. So we will continue to every month have that conversation with the DOTE about what the next steps are, so that by the end of the year or by the end of next year, we will have the full complement at every site across Cincinnati.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Any questions on with our team? Board Member Matt.
So thank you for the update. Can you just speak specifically to Rothenberg as well as performing arts, since we did have members come and speak for the public comment?
Yeah. So I before the meeting, I looked up Rothenberg, and they do need a crosswalk repainted over at Rothenberg. That was on our list that went to DOTE. So we're hoping that that is done before the start of school. We gave them kind of a laundry list. So I think it's a little unfair for us to say do this entire laundry list overnight, but they have committed to us that there are 5 or 6 schools that they will get to before school starts. I believe, without having my emails back and forth, I believe Rothenberg is one of them, to be honest with you. In relation to SCPA, we have had lots of conversations about the crosswalk mid-street, if you will. On either end of the street, there is a crosswalk that is about 50 feet or so away. The reason that we've been talking with DOTE at length about this is we would then also have to eliminate the parking in that area, because you cannot see around the parked cars to be able to see cars that are coming in each direction, as well as we'd have to make curb cuts into that area so it is able to be handicap accessible. So there's some challenges to that. At this point right now, it is not on the docket for DOTE to make those changes for right now.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvey.
Yeah, thank you so much for the update on the SCPA thing. I know I've reached out to DOT about it as well, and because those other crosswalks are way more visible in addition to everything else you said, that those are really the safer options. So thank you for breaking that down. I just wanted to thank you for bringing up the signage around school zones. I've gone out with a couple of different principals and watched the drop off in the morning. Withrow especially is like awful with that intersection, and so I believe they're one of the schools getting signage for this fall. So this is something continue to communicate with us on, because we've heard stories from West High kids who've come in and talked about they got hit by a car and then had to go sit in class, and I genuinely don't understand how you can concentrate after being hit by a car. So it's our first priority to make sure we get kids into the building safely. So thank you for your partnership on this. I know our Department of Transportation really values your partnership and collaboration, so thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your continued support. It's very helpful. And it goes without saying that DOTE has been a wonderful partner as well as the Assistant City Manager in highlighting these issues and making sure that there's resources dedicated to these situations that we see every single day.
Thank you. Board Member Crossett.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your, we had a pretty big project at West High, the West High students with their input, and I just wanted to, maybe you could just talk a little bit about how you collaborate with our students from time to time to get to address issues that pop up.
Yeah, at West High, it's really about the students at this point, not about CPS and the transportation department, but the students have really gone above and beyond, having the billboard and having safety be front and center to them getting to and from school, safe routes to school, and that is something that they brought up themselves. They took that and ran with it. That was not CPS saying, you should do this. These are students who started grassroots, did it themselves, and got it all the way to the billboard there's a picture of them standing in front of it with smiles on their face. And that's what this is all about. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
Thank you. Thank you. Vice President Bolton?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Just one question and then one comment. Who is supplying the crossing guards for the non-CPS schools?
So the non-CPS schools are the requirement of the school. I believe the city does have a few that they are helping those schools with, I believe. I don't know that to be true because we don't oversee them, but we are not supplying crossing guards to the non-CPS sites.
So then the point of kind of to watch and to monitor the need for crossing guards at non-CPS schools. It's not our responsibility, but the schools or the cities or someone else. Okay.
Correct. We are required to transport them, but if they are walking to school, we don't have a requirement from the state to make sure, or the city for that matter.
And we might want to supply, if the city doesn't already know those, where those crossing guards would be or should be based upon those non-CPS schools, I think would be helpful. And then to the point about at Withrow, we really appreciate the work regarding the safety infrastructure. But, the state law doesn't require a lot of safety infrastructure around high schools. Instead, it requires at the elementary. So it would be the city, and we appreciate it going above what the state law requires in order to provide that kind of safety for our high schoolers. So whatever the city can do, and they've been doing a lot, just keep at it. That's great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Burkhart. We appreciate you for all that you do.
Thank
We
you.
are going to just pick up the speed a little bit so that we can get to going. I think Superintendent Murphy is talking very quickly about the change in student bodies at various buildings. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am, happy to do that. So you heard a lot about some of the operational efficiencies that we've been able to garner heading into the 25-26 school year. A lot of the work, planning, and decisions were made around the ad hoc recommendations that came from our school board, listening to the community, listening to what was coming out of the city in terms of what we are interested in for our pre-K to 12 students in the city of Cincinnati. And so the first thing we did was create this corridor model in our school district where we are now divided up by an east, a central, and a west portion of the city. And the goal around that is to make sure that children, no matter where they live, have the same opportunities and experiences that families are asking for, grades pre-K to 12. We are super excited about that because in addition to going back to the traditional 9 to 12 high schools, being a former high school principal, I know principal colleagues love that, but we've also created an additional 5 middle schools and junior high schools. Last year, Schroeder, being our first middle school, having very nice results that we are very proud of, both instructionally and in terms of student behaviors. And so we're looking to be able to duplicate some of those successes at Pleasant Hill Academy, at Hartwell, at South Avondale, at Evanston, and at Ethel M. Taylor schools. So those principals are on fire about this school year. They are having sessions for families and children to be able to come into the building, to be able to tour and walk the building and to meet staff. And so we are super excited. First day of school, I will begin my day at South Avondale School. And the reason we did this as well, as I mentioned, is to make sure that we are providing seats that are in demand. So in addition to being able to focus on that middle-aged child, we also have increased our footprint in terms of being able to offer programming that families are asking for: additional Montessori seats, additional seats at Walnut Hills High School, additional seats in our gifted programs, and strengthening the programming that is happening in all of our neighborhood schools. And we're also being a little bit more efficient in terms of our enrollment processes. This year, the board has supported us in moving to a centralized enrollment system where families can either come to the Ed Center in person or enroll and register for school online. And we are super excited about being a more efficient model for our families.
Well, you know what? I said to the CPS side, hurry up, and they did just that. Does anyone have any questions? Council members? All right. We're going to call up Rebecca Beach, who's in charge of our Project Connect, so that she can give an update around Project Connect, the resources for families experiencing homelessness within CPS.
Thank you, Dr. Moffitt, and thank you all for taking the time to hear about what Project Connect is doing. So for those of you who don't know, Project Connect is the Cincinnati Public School program serving students and families who are experiencing homelessness. We are a federally mandated program that is required to remove educational barriers for our students who are experiencing housing instability. We did revamp our mission last year because we really feel like we go above the letter of the law and provide more holistic services to our families. So I won't go into our mission statement just for the sake of time, but did want to provide an update on our identification. As you know, the year before last, we saw a huge increase in identification. We had a 23% increase between the 2022-23 academic year and the 2023-24 academic year. And last school year, we saw a slight increase. We served 4,326 students in our district, so that's still an increase from the year before, slightly, but aligned with that larger increase ago. And so just to highlight a little bit of our data, we did serve 595 unaccompanied youth. These are students who are not in the care of a parent or legal guardian. We also serve 681 multi-language learners. So we are seeing an increase in this population, and the needs of this population are often greater just because a lot of our immigrant families do not have access to public benefits, and so we really have to be creative in how to serve them. We served over 500 students 0 to 5 years of age. This is required by law, but one of our highlights is that we were able to get almost 200 students into CPS preschool programs, and so that was actually double what we've ever done in the past. So we were really happy about that. And we saw a large increase, a 65% increase in families who are accessing our Order Ahead food program. And so this is a program that is in partnership with the Free Store and provides food for families, and they are able to have autonomy in deciding what food they want and pick up the food at our resource center every 2 weeks. And actually, overall, we served almost 2,000 students with emergency food of some kind, whether it be from the Order Ahead food program or through our food pantry. And so that was a large increase from the previous year. We have also been working on expanding our housing services. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to use some of that COVID relief funding to provide a housing navigator, and this is our housing navigator, Megan Rahill. And she has worked really hard to improve our housing services for families. So we've increased our partnerships with various organizations around the city, and we continue to do so. We have increased the number of priority CMHA vouchers that we are allowed to give to families. So we can now provide 200 families with priority vouchers, and they are now accepting those vouchers and processing them again because there was a temporary hold. We've been able to serve many, many families with our emergency housing services, which is a hotel stay. And so we had a 33.6% increase from the previous year. And actually, we were able to do that because of the city leverage grant. So we do want to thank the city for that funding. That is very helpful for our families because we're often able to get them into shelter during that time. And then in collaboration with the Cincinnati Public School Transportation Department, we were really able to decrease the number of families waiting to be routed. So on any given day, we actually had an 86% decrease. So very thankful to Pam and Chris Burkhart for just their collaboration with us. And so this means that we're able to quickly get students who are very transient into their seats at school. And so overall, we provided over 38,000 support services to our families experiencing homelessness, and we are very proud of that number. We actually, oh, this is Megan's slide. So we're actually missing a slide.
That's okay. So over 300 students were identified this past school year as living in their vehicle or staying outside or in a place that's not intended for humans to live, like in an abandoned building or a storage unit, which was a significant increase from the year before, as Rebecca was mentioning. So for these families, we were able to provide a 4 to 6 night hotel stay for them, and for families who were at risk of becoming unsheltered. So that really helped those families to take some time to be able to look at other options, or just to have a warm bed and a shower for their children and a safe place to sleep. And as Rebecca mentioned, that was also a significant increase compared to the previous year. Unfortunately, a lot of our families do have to return to their vehicle or outside for a little while after the temporary hotel stay, just due to the current shelter waiting lists being pretty long and the lack of other options that they have for housing. But Rebecca and I are continuing to work to try to find other solutions for that issue.
Thank you. So this is just a chart demonstrating the increase in emergency housing, basically emergency hotel room stays for our families. And so we did provide 355 students with emergency hotel stays last school year, and we do anticipate that this will increase this year. And so we have given you some of the data, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what we're going to do about it. We are all very familiar with some of the systemic inequities that contribute to persistent homelessness and lack of affordable housing. But what we know is that education cannot be separate from housing, health, and well-being. And so actually our superintendent, Shauna Murphy, came up with this idea for a wraparound support center for our families, which we are calling the WRAP, Wellness, Resources, Access, and Partnerships. We're very excited about this initiative. We will be moving in September to Taft Elementary School, and we will have a soft opening of the WRAP in the month of September. We will temporarily be in a swing space there while the district is building out our permanent space. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the supports that we will provide there. We will continue to provide all the educational supports that Project Connect has traditionally provided, such as uniforms, school supplies, shoes, hygiene items, transportation, school enrollment. We will continue to also provide our housing services, but we are looking at some new partnerships with agencies such as CareSource, who has offered to actually go into a partnership with us through Strategies to End Homelessness to provide families who receive CareSource with 2 weeks in a hotel and connection to a housing case manager. So we're really excited about that, and we will continue the services that we currently have in place. We also are hoping to open a safe sleep lot, and I will go into that in a little bit. We're planning to continue to expand on our emergency food program. At Taft, there is a health clinic, so our families will be able to access health resources on site. We will also continue to do our mobile wellness screenings at the shelters for families who are in shelter. And we will have Hamilton County Department of Jobs and Family Services on site 1 day a week, and they will provide intake for Medicaid as well as recertification and public benefits. So we're excited about that partnership. We will continue to expand our referrals with partner agencies. We cannot do this work alone, and so we have several direct referral processes with various agencies that our families will be able to access at the RAP. We are continuing to build out partnerships for legal support for families facing eviction or dealing with immigration issues. And then one of the things that I'm most excited about with the RAP is that we will actually have various agencies who will be on site and provide services to our families, so it will be like a one-stop shop. So we've already secured the partnership with Hamilton County Department of Jobs and Family Services. We will also be able to do intake with Hamilton County and UC Law Center's limited representation program. And we are entering into a partnership with SUCASA to expand services for our multi-language learner families. And so we are going to continue over time to add partners, and we will have the space, and so we're excited about that. And we do feel that Taft Elementary School will be a great place to have our 6-week summer academic and enrichment program because we will have all of the facilities we need on site. And so as I mentioned, we are also in discussion and planning the opening of a safe sleep lot. I wanted to just give you a little background on why this is important to us. Megan and I see a lot of families who are sleeping in their car or outside, and in order to get into shelter, a family has to be verified as sleeping in this unhoused situation. And this is done by Greater Cincinnati Behavioral, and it can take some time because they only work for a couple of hours a day, which are in the early morning hours. And a lot of our families have left where they were. They often have to move throughout the night due to safety issues, or they're being told to move, or they've left to go to work or school by the time that a street outreach worker gets there. And so it can take days for a family situation to be verified just to get on the waiting list for shelter. So that is one of the barriers our families face. Another is that when you're sleeping in your car and you have children, it's just very hard to get a good night's rest. And we had a family who came in, and the mom was lovely. She worked for a local bus company. She was sleeping in the car with her children and couldn't sleep at night because she was watching them and moved very often. And she lost her position at the company she worked for because she fell asleep while at work and was in an accident. Luckily, no one was hurt, but this just perpetuates the cycle of homelessness because she's now not able to obtain a position. And so we actually did a research trip where we went to California and visited some safe sleep lots in San Diego and Long Beach because this is a very common model on the West Coast. And we came up with a variety of options. We took away something from every lot that we went to. And tonight I'm just going to share with you briefly one option, and this is the option that we hope to implement, which we consider to be our optimal facility, and what we would like to implement at Taft Elementary School. And this would just be a small lot with 12 parking spaces, which we do feel is enough because on any given night, we typically don't have more than 4 or 5 families who are sleeping in their car at a time. So our numbers are always over the course of the school year. Our hours of operation would be 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. daily. One of the things that is important to us is that we have a structure, either fixed or semi-permanent, where families can shower and use the restroom and get ready for school with dignity. So that's very important to us. We also would like to have security at the lot for the sake of our families and also for the community. And so when families enter the lot, if they leave, they cannot actually return to the lot that night. So the security would do the intake and be there throughout the night to monitor the lot. And we'd like to provide things such as breakfast for children before they go to school, hot meals on certain nights of the week in partnership with the Free Store Food Bank, who has already agreed to this. And in the future, possibly tutoring and different parent engagement activities. And we do want the families in our lot connected to case management. So just to summarize, we do want bathroom access, security, case management with Greater Cincinnati Behavioral, possibly the United Way, and definitely with Care Source. Shelter placement prioritization. So Greater Cincinnati Behavioral has agreed that our lot would be their first stop every morning. So all of those families would be verified within 24 hours and could quickly be placed on the shelter waiting list. So that does reduce the time it takes to get into shelter. And of course, connection to resources at the WRAP, daily breakfast, safe sleep car kits, which are something that we saw in California and we really liked. We want to be able to provide the families who are sleeping in their cars with pillows, blankets, flashlights, water bottles, granola bars, and even window covers for privacy. So that's what we're hoping for. And the lot would be open March 1st through December 1st. And the reason for that is that we do not think that it would be a good idea to have the lot open during the coldest months of the year. And we have spoken with Christ Cathedral Church, and they will open their doors to those families on cold nights when we refer them. So I will buzz
Let
through
me
this.
jump in real fast. Thank you for that. That's actually my church, so I'm really
Oh,
proud
really?
of them. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, earlier this year, when we had to close our rec center, our warming center, they let in 200 people, and they
Yes.
had food for them and everything, and it was really good. So thank you. They were thanking us for giving them that opportunity. We were thanking them. So
Yeah, we were thanking them as well because
yeah,
they
but
did
they're
open
so
their
happy
doors
to
for
do
our
it.
families. Yeah, they were wonderful.
Thank you so much for that. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned volunteers, you need people to serve food at the lot and to tutor. Where do people call if they want to volunteer to help?
They will call us, but we're not there yet. I do want to
Okay.
say, we don't intend for the Safe Sleep Lot to open until this March.
Okay.
And so initially, we don't plan to have tutoring and parent programming. We want to, this school year, just see how the lot goes.
Okay.
So that is something that we will look at for next school year and when we
Okay.
move into our more permanent space. But we will start a list of partners who would potentially be interested so they can call Project Connect.
Okay.
Right now our number is 513-363-6570. But when we move, it will be 363-5670. So we were
Okay.
able to keep it pretty close.
That's close. Okay, great. So we tell people, don't call now to
I mean,
volunteer.
they can call now, but
Okay.
we won't be ready for that part of the program until next school
Next year,
year.
March 2026. Okay,
Yes.
thank you for that. Any questions? Mr. Crossett?
Not a question, just thank you for all you're doing. I'm wondering I don't expect for you to answer this. I've been a volunteer for homelessness for many years through Found House. Yes. And what I've noticed is many of the folks who are experiencing homelessness, the composition has changed. It's not unemployment. It's people that are employed and have cars but no place to live.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if you could collect more data on that as you go along and to provide that for helping identify the root cause of some of these issues. Also, I would suggest that IHN Found House might be a really good partner if you connect you. Thank you.
We work very closely with Found House. They actually send us their shelter logs, and today we just sent over school supplies, backpacks, and uniforms for all of the students there. Thank you. These are just a couple of pictures of the lots, and again, I'll just fly through them. This was a lot in California. I did just want to show this because this was a partnership between the city and Jewish Family Services where they actually donated FEMA trailers. So the families didn't have to sleep in their cars. They could actually sleep in these FEMA trailers. And this was just a lot that was also through a city improvement grant that is similar to what I'm kind of envisioning for our structure. It just had an intake room, somewhere where parents could heat up food, wash dishes, charge their cell phones, and then they had a bathroom and shower facility. And then my final slide is I just wanted to kind of show how this Safe Sleep Lot kind of plays into the housing pipeline. And so I'll quickly just go through that just to show that There is an end goal with the Safe Sleep Lot. We know it's not an answer. It's really just part of the housing continuum. Because the reality is we do have families sleeping in their cars. And so if they have CPS children, we would invite them to sleep at the Safe Sleep Lot. The goal would be the Greater Cincinnati Behavioral would verify them within 24 hours and they would be placed on the waiting list for shelter. And at that point, we can then put those families into hotel for 4 to 6 nights. The reason we can't do that initially is because if they're in a hotel, Greater Cincinnati Behavioral will say that they are not eligible for shelter placement.
Okay.
So we do have to wait. They do have to stay 24 hours in the lot to be verified before we can place them in hotel. And then while in hotel, we anticipate one of 3 things happening. Sometimes our families are able to work out an alternative living situation and go stay with family or friends once they have time to regroup. They may have to return to our Safe Sleep Lot while awaiting shelter placement, or our hope is that they will get into shelter and then be connected to a variety of housing resources and case management that can only be accessed through the shelter pipeline, such as rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and options like that. And then final slide is just, I would be remiss if I didn't thank our partners. We are expanding, like I said, our services. We can't do this work alone. We appreciate the financial donations, the in-kind donations, and the goods and services that we receive to make it possible to be able to open the wrap and be able to provide these expansive services. We even received, Northgate Mall had some stores closing and they donated all of their clothing to us.
Wow.
And so that was actually really fun. We got to go out there and get all this new clothing, so that will be at the wrap as well.
That's great.
So we thank you, and we do thank the City of Cincinnati because you all have really provided us with a lot of support in being able to improve our housing services.
That's fantastic. Thank you for your work. It's just, we're really just very grateful, to have some of our young people, any of our families experiencing being unhoused, especially our children who are, really need to be in school, and that's just a huge barrier.
Yes.
So this is important work. I look forward to just having, more of our adults involved in the schools and in many different ways. And I think at some point, we'll ask our superintendent, give us a wish list. How do we get people to come in? I was talking to someone who used to work in the city, Cheryl Meadows, and she's in North Avondale, reading to the kids all the time. And I think that kind of interaction is really helpful for our schools. A lot of people say, how can we help? And there's so many ways you can volunteer. You don't have to be a certified teacher to go in and, read to young people, make sure they can pass that reading proficiency test, and just to have that positive interaction with them. So we'll talk about that at some point soon.
I just want to say thank you for being brief, and we do have more things that we need to work out with regard to the safe lots, but homelessness of our students is increasing. And I don't want that to be remiss, that we are seeing a huge increase in having to educate our students that are experiencing homelessness. The safe lots is definitely something that we're working on at the district level, and we've got more work to do. But from the time that we started this conversation last year, we were seeing hundreds more students, hundreds more families that are experiencing homelessness. And that's one of the things that I want to take away, that I want everyone to take away, is that they still have to be educated. And how can you learn if you are hungry, if you are experiencing homelessness? So we've got a lot that we're doing to try to remedy this, but I don't want to get away from the fact that we have 595 unaccompanied youth, 681 multilingual learners that are experiencing home insecurity. So thank you so much for this. There's more work to do. The city always wants to have an update, so we'll definitely have you back again.
Thank you, and thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And so, our goal in City Council, just, hopefully this just goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, is that we're working really hard on getting more housing, more affordable housing all across the city. So that's a definite priority. It just doesn't go quickly. We've done, this council has done more than I think any other council over the last decade in terms of affordable housing. It's not enough. We have so much more to do, and we continue to work on it. So thank you for
And
for
thank
your
you for your
partnership.
work. We really appreciate the city of Cincinnati, and we work very closely with Deanna White, and we know her. She's very passionate
great,
about
yeah.
affordable housing, and so we appreciate that. It's a large issue, like Dr. Moffett said. And
Right, and when we talked about this at the last meeting, but there are resources for people who are facing eviction, they have legal representation in the courts, and also we have funds to help them pay that back rent due so that they can avoid eviction. But they will be represented in court, which really helps. So,
yes, yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Member Albee.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for this presentation. I'm really excited about the wrap. That's fantastic, the whole thing. I did want to take a moment just to pause on a few pieces of your presentation. You know, I flipped back to kind of beginning with the stats around the children you're serving, and we know the federal government just passed a budget that's going to make all of it a lot harder. I'm curious, when we think about the changes to maybe less so Medicaid, but SNAP, with all the emergency food that you're already providing, you know, are we ready? Yep, that's the face I was expecting. But if you can talk a little bit about like what you see the implications of the federal government having in these policies on the work you're doing every day.
Well, so we are concerned about our funding because it is a federal grant. So we are funded through the McKinney-Vento grant, which is a competitive federal grant. And so there has been a lot of advocacy at the federal level to maintain and sustain that funding. We heard good news recently. It was being looked at as being added as part of a block grant instead of its own funding source, which means that states could determine where that funding went. But I believe that at the moment, they haven't moved forward with making that change. We are concerned for our families who receive public benefits such as Medicaid and food assistance. We are, again, just trying to increase partnerships, donations. We are hoping to continue to apply for grant funding that can, subsidize some of these things, but we are a school district, so we can't necessarily become, an agency that provides everything, but we are definitely committed to doing whatever we can to support the basic needs of our students, but we are concerned.
Me too.
Yeah.
If there's anything we can do around advocacy, one of our U.S. senators was just in town today talking about safety, and I think what you all provide is so fundamental to our safety of our community. So if there's anything we can do around that advocacy, please let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I did want to take a moment to pause on why the safe sleep lots are necessary. I don't want to breeze past the way that the rule is structured is that the families have to be counted living in their cars before they're eligible for relief. And can you just spend a few more seconds explaining how that system works and why this solution is necessary to tap into this resource?
Yes, so that is not our system. That is a decision that was made about 2 years ago by Strategies to End Homelessness, who they are partners of ours, so I do want to say that they've been great partners, but they did, I think because of how overcrowded shelters were, they wanted to make sure that the people that really needed to be in shelter were the ones entering shelter. So they have partnered with Greater Cincinnati Behavioral to verify that these families are indeed sleeping outside or in their car. But it is not a perfect system, like I explained. It's, I didn't even know that those outreach workers didn't start until 5 or 6 in the morning until last school year, because Megan kept getting calls saying that these families were waiting, but they had to get their kids to school, like Mr. Crossley said, a lot of our parents work, and so the parents have to get to work, and they couldn't wait around for a street outreach worker. So we really advocated for the ability to be able to verify these families ourselves, but it is an extensive process for us to be able to do it, and we're also not working at 5 a.m. typically. And so This, I think, would eliminate that barrier for our families very quickly, because if they sleep in our lot, even if the street outreach worker gets there after a family has to leave, we will have a sign-in sheet. We will be able to say, this family slept here last night, and they will accept that. So those families in our lot will be able to be immediately verified and at least placed on the waiting list for shelter.
Thank you. I appreciate all your work to come up with a creative solution to meet this challenge. Because obviously it's a complicated system and there are a lot of moving pieces. And, when you hear sleep parking lot, that maybe people are like, why are we doing that? But this is really wanted to zoom in on why we're doing it and why this is such a creative solution. Right. It's maybe a slightly imperfect solution, but it's getting there. Absolutely, we know it's not a permanent thing for any of these families. It's a way to get them into the broader system. So thank you so much.
Exactly. Thank you for actually putting it that way. That's a great way to put it. It is a way to get them into the broader system so that they can access resources that will hopefully sustain housing for them. I mean, we're really hoping with the RAP to improve generations to come.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're getting short on time, but this is really a very important topic. So thank you so much, both of you, all your work. Our next speaker is going to go down to E, budget update and state impact. I understand Ms. Wagner is going to lead that discussion.
Actually, your future treasurer is going to be leading it.
Oh, okay. Trial by fire, huh? Just come on up.
No, thank you. Thank you. I will do my best to get us back on time track. Okay. Just present some budget updates. So we'll start with the district and then move to the state and then move to the federal government. Okay. So on July 9th, our board approved a fiscal year 26 general fund operating budget of $634.7 million. Which it was quite a process to get us there. It was a great partnership between the board, the administration, and our union partners. We did at some point, we closed about a $51 million budget gap, which, that's tough. But I think the thing that we're proudest of is even with the cuts we made, and those were difficult, we were still able to fund our strategic plan, our strategic goals and guardrails, and our growth plan. So they were tough choices, but we're still moving forward.
Great job. Great job. That was tough. I know that was really hard. Great leadership.
Definitely. So to go up a level to the state budget, and I want to thank the council for the resolution they did supporting the Fair School Funding Plan. I remember being here for that discussion, but appreciate all the advocacy efforts and that resolution. So at the end of the state budget process, on just the money portion, we lost about $3 million from where we were at last year as far as the projections, which wasn't the worst it could have been. You can see on the graph. These are all the different budget versions. I've presented this slide to our board several times to see the range of options. So it wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. Good things about the budget for sure is that the Fair School Funding Plan was kept in place. They didn't update all the inputs, which is what we would have hoped for, but there's still a framework for fair school funding, which was important, I think, to every school district. Also, luckily for us, we had some enrollment growth in the second half of the year, and so all the budget projections were based on January numbers. And so as we kind of grew it, our enrollment growth really offset the loss. So that was a net positive for us. As you know, there's two sides to the state budget. One side is money, the other side is all the policy and law changes. And many of those would have been fairly devastating for school districts. So luckily, Governor DeWine did line item vetoes on a lot of items you can see there in the slide that would have been detrimental to our ability to raise funds. Would affect our property taxes, our 20 mil floor, would affect how much money districts can carry over in cash from year to year, would give the county budget commission some new authority. So luckily at this point, only one of those vetoes has been overridden by the House. Senate has still not acted, though we expect them to do so when they return from recess. The one change that would be dangerous to us, the veto override, is getting rid of fixed sum levies. So these are levies like the one we have coming up in November. that are for a certain amount of money. So like November's levy is a $48 million tax levy. 15 million of that is for preschool expansion, and the other 33 is for district operations. So if the Senate concurs the veto override, we'll lose the ability to do those levies in the future, which will make things a little more complicated for us. Governor also established a property tax reform working group, and I'm sure there's lots of conversations about property taxes across the state on all different levels. So their goal is to come up with some proposals by the 30th of September. We're hoping to see how that shakes out. And then finally, just to talk about federal funds, I know Ms. Beach talked about kind of, but we'll bring a little more detail into it. So we get our federal funds generally on July 1st of every year, and we have until September 30 for the next year to spend it. And it kind of flows downhill. So the U.S. Department of Education gives money to the state then takes that and gives money to each school district that qualifies. This year on June 30th, our allocations for Title II, Title III, and Title IV all got held up or paused. And these are the federal funds that help us with, teacher retention, recruitment, education, direct services to English language learners, and then a lot of social and emotional support, some curriculum textbooks, a lot of really important things. And so luckily on July 25th, those funds were officially released to the news. The state has received them on the 30th of July. We haven't officially received our allocations yet. And so I drive my grants manager nuts every morning. I'm asking her, 8 o'clock in the morning, have you heard from the state? We haven't yet. We expect that any day now. And the state did do us a favor by extending the grant period for past fiscal years until September 30th. So we're able to continue our operations as anticipated.
That's a really quick, high level.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Anything else? Was that it?
Yeah.
I was going to say it's really hard working under those conditions where, the money is so iffy, like is it coming or not? When is it coming? Like that's just stress right there.
Yeah,
So-
we spent a week of work, which I'm glad I didn't have to do, building different contingency plans. If we get this amount, if we just get this amount, if we don't get this, what can we shift? Where can we find other funds? So
Right.
luckily it was work we didn't have to use.
Okay, well then we look forward to hearing about the property tax proposals in September. I know that to the state as well, so we can put all those together and kind of see where we are and where we're going. I know Dunny Isaacson, Representative Isaacson is working on this issue. So that might be a good topic for our next quarterly meeting to see how we're doing. So, okay, any questions, anybody? Questions or comments? Only have a few minutes left. Keep that in mind.
Board Member Matt.
Vice Mayor, you actually just touched on the question that I have. It's really just around what are the recommendations that we can do collectively as council as well as a district to ensure the financial stability for our students and for our city as a whole. So I look forward to us discussing that at the next meeting.
That sounds great. We'll try to pull all that together since CPS's recommendations are due September 30th, and our meeting will be probably shortly after that, probably October, November, right, for the next quarterly meeting. So we'll be well prepared to bring all of that together. Thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
Bolton had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Bolton, Vice President.
Thank you. Just very quickly, wanted to make sure that we are very aware of the environment in which we are all operating. And certainly those of us in public schools feel it perhaps the most, but it's also impacting all local governments as well, the kinds of things that are happening. And we're proud to say that not only did we refuse to sign the DEI mandate, but also as a district, we are full legal partners in that lawsuit when they started to withhold the money just this summer, as well as being full legal partners with the Vouchers Hurt Ohio. So we expect our taxpayers' money to be spent here on public schools. And it's been important to have the city's support. And as for the group that is convening in September, we're glad to have a commissioner Commissioner Dreehouse on that, and more particularly even, our former school board member, Mr. Seitz, whom I think was pivotal in the overrides, the refusal to override, as well as the vetoes that the governor passed for us because of his commitment to public schools. So
That's fantastic.
fingers crossed, but also sue people that you need to.
There you go. Okay. Mr. Crossett.
Just briefly, I just want to recognize the Cincinnati Teachers Association for accepting a cost of living increase of 0 to make this budget happen. And it's a fantastic partnership. It shows how much our teachers care. So thank you to them.
Big sacrifice, and we really appreciate it. Ms. Murphy?
I really just want to add to Board Member Crossett, all of our unions accepted the 0 COLA.
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much. Just real dedication. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting short on time. Let me just look at this agenda. We're at Book Club, Washington, D.C., and so we're going to put that on hold. I'll just say quickly, we had a wonderful time taking some of our 6th graders to Washington, D.C. We have all kinds of photos to show you. I think what we'll do at the next quarterly meeting is talk about the book club and have some of the young ladies who went to talk about their experiences. Miss Mapp, we had a ball. Elise Willis from Ethel Taylor went as well, and it was all headed by Dr. Alicia Smith. Did you want to say something about the book clubs for this year? Should people call you to volunteer? She kind of voluntold us. Her daughter Ashley showed up in my Ashley Harf showed up in my office with the books and said, "Okay, here are your books. Your school is Rockdale. Get moving." But it was so much fun. It was just great, and it was really the girls who had the idea to go to Washington. So that wasn't our idea, but we had a great time.
Is my mic on?
It is.
First, I would like to thank Superintendent Murphy for supporting me and allowing me to do the book club. We are going to spread it out even more this year. So I will be reaching out to more of community council and members so that they can be a part, and more of our board members to more of our schools. It's about a 5-week commitment. You meet with a group of young men or a group of young women. You read the book and you just get to know them. And it was important for it to happen because the community and the school are in partnership. And it was important for people that work in the community to come in and see our young people. And so they could see them in a different light. Sometimes they see them outside of school and they wonder, but when they come into the school, they see these amazing young people who are doing awesome things. So yes, I will. You can reach me at 513-448-8698. And my email is smith, ALISCPSBOE.K12.OH.US. Yes, it's very long.
CPS's emails are worse than city emails, right?
Or you can just call the office at 363-000 and they'll connect you to my secretary. But I'm going to be reaching out to more community. We want to spread it to more schools because it is an impact. We want our kids to fall in love with reading. And they do that by reading books where they see themselves and they get an opportunity to talk about what they're reading and how it's connected to real life. Thank you.
I'm going to say the mayor had a group, you had a group, some judges had a group, and they were all impacted. I think the kids made more of an impact on them than they made on the kids. So for sure, we want to make sure that community members, people that they regularly see, get a chance to enforce the love of reading to them.
Miss Mapp and I don't want to let our girls go, so we're bringing them back together at some point soon. We have a whole nother book, even though they've moved to middle school now, we have a whole nother book ready for them. Good Trouble, I think, is the book. Yeah. So we're ready to continue. Okay, so we're going to end. We're getting really close to the end. For after-school programs at rec centers, enrollment, availability, and staff pay, there's a lot to talk about there, and we're going to hold that for our next meeting as well. We'll have some updates before that because we want to update you before school starts, and so we'll get the message out to Dr. Moffitt, and she'll put it in the communication to CPS, but we'll talk more about it. Just to say, lots of good things are happening. So, and then finally, this is not on the agenda, but today City Council passed 2 new curfew ordinances. and we want you all to spread the word. Let me just start. I'm going to ask Councilmember Johnson to talk about it because this came out of his Public Safety Committee. One thing was very important for all of us, I know Councilmember Albee and I talked about this a lot, is we did not want our children to be criminalized. We want them, as always, we want them treated well with respect, to have good interactions. But there's some positive things about these curfew ordinances, and I'm going to let Councilmember Johnson explain them to you.
Well, great evening to everybody. Thank you, Madam Chair. Very just quickly, we want to make sure, as the Vice Mayor has made it clear, that the curfew is not going to be punitive and criminalize young people for being out beyond hours. More than anything, though, we want to make sure that young people are safe. And let's just be frank and honest, there's nothing beneficial for young people to be out past 11 o'clock at night. Just not. So the curfew is a blanket curfew. It updates where we were with the first initial curfew to where all unaccompanied minors have to be off Cincinnati streets by 11 p.m. There is a 9 p.m. curfew for what we're calling the Special Extended Curfew District, which is in our central business district downtown. They have to be out of the central business district by 9 p.m. These are safety measures that we took, and I must applaud our city administration, the city manager Cheryl Long, our law department, and the Cincinnati Police Department. They came up with the best of the best that we could in making sure, first and foremost, as the Vice Mayor said, young people have to be safe. Safety is paramount. Safety is the #1 priority for this city. I know it's the #1 priority for CPS also. But I must say, as I talked about in committee, I am begging parents to make sure that gift that you have received from God, your children, you know where they are, you're concerned about where they are, and you help us help you keep your gifts safe. So once again, 9 p.m. out of the Central Business District, 11 p.m. for all unaccompanied minors, throughout the city, it's 11 p.m. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. Working, I know one of our colleagues, Mr. Nolan, was very concerned about proms and homecomings and things of that nature. We will not be enforcing the curfew if you're attending a prom, homecoming, and special events downtown. So we want to make sure young people are having a good time, but we want to make sure it's done safely. So this curfew is extended throughout the entire year. So we want to make sure those messages are crystal clear to the amazing parents in the city of Cincinnati. But I reiterate, help us help you keep that precious gift safe, the children that you've been given. Help us help you make sure our young people are safe. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, and you'll be getting more information about it, where the young people will be taken if they do break curfew, which is Seven Hills Neighborhood Houses, which is an opportunity to really check on them to see, do you have an after-school job? What kind of activities are you involved in? How are things going at home? To really get some resources for those who need it. And Dr. Moffitt just asked me about football games. So as Councilmember Johnson said, the curfew, the exceptions are for those who are going to and from jobs, and also for ticketed events. So if a young person is going to a ticketed event, that waives that curfew requirement. So it's going to happen soon. I think we're not quite there yet. We're still working on it, but we want you to be aware of it. The curfew, the hours are actually in place as of now because we passed it today. So it would be good to start letting young people know about it. And just keep in mind, Cincinnati has had a curfew since the 1990s. Periodically, we enforce it, so it's not always enforced, but they've been in place. They were just confusing before, like if you were, under 16, you had to be in by 10. If you were 16 or 17, you had to be in by midnight. It just got really confusing. So now it's 11 o'clock, except 9 o'clock in the Central Business District. So we'll send you information, though. Councilmember Albee.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then again, there was a really long conversation about how do we make sure the interactions with the kids are as positive as possible. But one thing I do want to emphasize, especially for you all since you work with parents, so on the parent side, if your kid is caught or your parent caretaker, if your child violates curfew once, there's a warning, but a second time, it's a minor misdemeanor for the parents. So there is parent accountability as well. So I don't want that to be lost as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
I just have a very quick question. I want you all to clarify, for ticketed events, if the event is over at 10, and that's or let's say 11, and it's at the curfew, you still have a time to get home. So it's not like the curfew's finished because you had a ticketed event. You have so many minutes to get home.
Well, that's not actually part of the ordinance. The ordinance just has exceptions for ticketed events and for young people going to jobs or coming home from jobs.
Okay.
So it's not, we're not counting the minutes.
So I'm just wondering, can they still kind of hang out? I went to a basketball game and it's been an hour and a half, 2 hours later. How does that work?
Well, let me say, if the ordinance doesn't really address like hangout time, but I get what you're saying. We do encourage our young people to get home. I mean, it's late, get home. It's not safe to be out in the street late at night for young people. That's why when we were growing up, street lights came on, you're supposed to be home. We would have those commercials that came on, it's 11 o'clock, do you know where your children are? I mean, that's been around forever, so we still encourage that. Get home, get home. So nothing good happens after 11 o'clock.
And then very quickly, Madam Chair, it's the Cincinnati Police Department is aware of major high school events, big time football and basketball games. So discretion will be exercised. Chief Thigi made that crystal clear. So we have to make sure that we are going to rely on good judgment from our police officers also. Now, I'll tell you this, to be quite frank, that's the last thing police officers want to be doing, is picking up young people for curfews. But we want to make sure our young people stay safe too. Thank you.
Thank you. And as Councilmember Johnson said, that we want to have positive interaction with our young people and the police, so here's an opportunity for that as well.
If we're concluded, I would just like to, a point of personal privilege as finance chair, and I know this is President Moffitt and I talked about this. This is the last combined meeting that our current treasurer will be in attendance. Jen Wagner has served this city by serving the district for over 32 years.
Wow.
This district is in part the way it is because of her. And it's very important that that kind of public service be honored at a time when throughout the country people are dishonoring public service as though it's something bad. So she's helped build this school district, and therefore that's why we're one of the very few urban districts that are growing in this country, and that's why we're still an important part for the city of Cincinnati.
I think that deserves a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Ms. Wagner, would you like to say anything? We'll just put you on the spot.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you. That was very touching. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve the children of Cincinnati. And I've seen a lot of great things happen over the last 30 years. And in the last 10, serving as a treasurer, I've tried to lead the district with fiscal transparency and integrity. being good stewards of taxpayers' dollars while accomplishing and funding our students' needs. And I'm leaving and moving on to the next chapter of my life with confidence that Cincinnati Public Schools will continue to flourish. And so thank you for your support. Thank you for your partnership to the council. We've done good things together, and I'm just really proud of the time there. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Superintendent Murphy, would you like to make comments, please?
Well, I just appreciate my team for being here. It's been a long day as we prepare for the start of the 2025-2026 school year, but we are super excited. We continue to be here for kids, and we cannot wait to see the young people come back to school. And I know their parents are excited about that as well.
Sure they are. Thank you so much. Well, any final comments? Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you soon. The next CPS board meeting, of course, is August 24th. And the next city council meeting will be right after Labor Day. We get back in session. Next quarterly meeting, we will let you know. It's coming up probably late October, early November. So thank you for being here, and please stay in touch.